From the studios of Foxborough Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Welcome to Around Foxborough. My name is Julia Love. Today we have an exciting guest. He recently started a dance company. So let's invite Greg. Hi, Greg.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Would you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My name's Greg Canellis. I am 25, born and raised in Franklin, Massachusetts, and I am the owner and artistic director of Studio G Dance Company, which is a new local dance studio that is currently working out of the Rodman Performing Arts Center in the center of Foxborough.
Great. So, Greg, tell us why you decided to start your dance studio.
So I grew up dancing. My aunt owned a studio in Norfolk for 34 years. So I grew up doing it. I did baseball. I did a plethora of different sports, but dance is what really stuck with me. It's what came naturally to me. It's what I enjoyed doing. So when I got to that fifth, sixth grade time, I decided to get serious with it and I became a competitive dancer. And then it was just dance. So I was doing that 2-3 days a week. I was traveling throughout New England, competing and everything. And I just fell in love with it. And I kind of had different plans post-graduation, but I always returned home and I taught and I choreographed. I actually choreographed my first routine when I was 15. I was still a student. And that kind of ignited a love for the behind the scenes, the teaching and the choreography end of things. But it wasn't until about 4 or 5 years ago that I really realized that this was my passion and that this is what I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing. So after some discovery and realization that this is what I wanted to do, I said, I have a dream and I have to see it through. So I chose to get started and here we are.
Great. And then which school did you go to study dance? You said you went to college?
No, my aunt owned a studio prior to in Norfolk. So I studied there and then I went to Bridgewater State University and I got a degree in health studies and business management. So I didn't major in dance, but that's okay because I go to conventions and I go to expos and dance teacher trainings and everything. So I'm always continuing my education. But at the time when I was in college, I had different plans. So.
Great. And then, so how is it going? How many years have you had this company so far?
We just opened in January of 2021. So it was a lot of people would say it was a crazy time to begin, which I could agree with. But I knew that I had it in me to get it started, and I knew that I had to do everything the right way. So I had previously choreographed a musical the summer of 2019 at the Marilyn Rodman Performing Arts Center. And I said to myself, well, how can I start something without diving full deep into it with a lease and a building and all that comes with a business while we're still in the middle of a pandemic? So I said to myself, well, let me reach out to the theater because I know they are not currently having any shows. So they could benefit from the help and I could definitely benefit from their space. So Catherine and Bob were very generous and they said absolutely. So we're currently working out of there, which is the perfect scenario, especially because I'm just starting out. So I'm in a building phase.
Great. So how can people find out your studio? Do you have a website? Do you have a social media page? Would you tell us?
Yes, we have a website. It's www.studiogdancecompany.com. And then we're on Facebook. We have an official Facebook page. If you just search the name of the studio in the search bar, you'll find the business page, as well as we have an Instagram under the same name, Studio G Dance Company. And we recently are just on TikTok now. So it's all under the same username, just the business name, but we have all the social media platforms going strong and building. And in addition, we will, now that COVID is somewhat, still here, but we'll be doing town events and everything. So starting off in Foxborough, Foxborough is a great town. I enjoy the people that I've come in contact with thus far. So starting off there is my plan. And then when the time comes where I have to find a building or a space to lease, I love this area, this Norfolk County area, the Franklin, the Norfolk, the Foxborough, the Rentham, Plainville. But for now, we're gonna remain in Foxborough.
Great. So now, Greg, how many students currently do you have or did you have from January?
So I believe in January, we had about 18 students. I'm very fortunate to actually have older students. A couple of them followed me. I had been teaching prior at my aunt's, and they followed me to continue. And then we had a couple 6 and 7-year-olds sign up for our recreation classes. One of our members graduated and went to college. And then a couple, you try it, especially, but now that sports are picking back up, they tried hip hop and musical theater because there were no sports running. And now, so I believe we're up to about 15 students currently.
Okay. And then you have several teachers too, right? You and then 2 other teachers.
Correct. So currently, I have Miss Lorna James, who is a dear friend of mine. She is very well respected and sought out in the dance industry. She is phenomenal. She is the Company G ballet instructor. So she works with my competition team students and teaches them specifically ballet week to week. And then I am kind of the owner, artistic director, and I'm currently I am the teacher as we start out. So I teach that, 6 to 8-year-old age and then all the way up. And as I grow, more teachers will definitely come in because it's great to get kids exposed to different instructors because each teacher brings something new to the studio.
Great. So, what is really the fun of teaching dance?
For me, it's the ability to communicate with whoever I'm working with and to see them grow throughout the years. I knew, and I'm very fortunate that I figured this out early on in life, what my gift and what my passion in life is. My gift is the ability to teach, regardless of age, gender, anyone. If I'm working with a 7-year-old, I know how to step down to their level and communicate with the 7-year-old and explain things so how they can understand it. And then on the flip, if I'm working with a 47-year-old, I know how to talk professionally and get it across to them. So teaching and communication, I'm very fortunate to have that as my gift. And my passion in life is dance. It's what I'm best at. It's what I want to spend the rest of my life doing and learning about. So, you have to put 2 and 2 together. So teaching dance is just watching a student get something and then watching them grow with it is just magical. It's like school teaching. You see a 5th grader move on to middle school and it's like, wow, I worked with them and now they're on to the next phase of their life. So I've had graduates already who are off to college and some of them still do the dance company at their school. But, they have other plans, which is great. Regardless if they want a career out of dance or if they want to move in another path, I'm glad that I had some part in their education.
Great. And so this coming year from September, what is your plan for this coming school year?
So this year in general is our normal season. We started in January. So at that time, I didn't want to book a recital or have any costumes or do any of that because everybody, it was still winter time and we had a spike. So I just wanted kids to come into class, get acquainted with each other and just start off like that. But now starting in September, it's going to be a regular year. So we have our recreation department, which we offer weekly classes. And those kids will come and take ballet, tap, jazz from September to May. And then they will have their end of the year showcase June 10th, actually. I just posted about that. We have our showcase booked on Friday, June 10th. And they come and they love it and they have their costumes and they do the recital and it's amazing. And then we have Company G, which is my select dance company that will travel throughout New England, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and they will compete 3 to 4 times and they will represent the studio on a higher level through competition dance and public performance opportunities. I do try and open up the performance opportunities to the studio in general, because not every student wants to compete. They might want to be able to just come there once a week, but some performance opportunities are select to those kids.
So I saw your biography before, and
Yep.
then you have worked with some really prestigious choreographers. Um, did you work with them in Massachusetts or LA or different places?
So I just take class with them when I can. I get to New York. I've never been, I never wanted to be a professional dancer. So I never went out to New York or LA. That was never a dream of mine. When I can, I do go to New York and I take classes with those said choreographers and such. Um, but that's what I enjoy doing. I love to learn. I'm like a sponge. If I can go for a weekend to a dance teacher convention and take classes with several teachers, people who have been doing this for years, I will do that because you never stop learning.
I see. Great. So it's very exciting that you started your company at such a young age, and then it seems to be growing, and your vision is coming through. And so far, I know your students performed at the Rodman Award.
Correct. Yep, we were very fortunate for that performance because again, we didn't have a recital because at the time, opening up a business during COVID times was a risk. So I didn't know how many students I was going to have. I was fortunate to have as many as I did in my first 6 months of operation. But when that event came to fruition throughout the theater and we were invited to perform, I was thrilled for the girls. And we actually pulled that routine together in 3 rehearsals. I said to them, hey, we have a performance, and they were all excited. But I said, we have 3 classes. Actually, it might have been 4. I think it was 4. We have 4 classes to get it together and get a whole routine together. So for 4 classes, they impressed me so much. And it was really nice to just showcase their talents in that way.
Great. So I know like your passion is really teach, but what do you think dance means to a lot of people, maybe to you as well? Not just the performing itself, but as a human being, as expression, or as an artist, um, what does it mean to you? And then what do you think it means to a lot of people to express your body through the art form of dance?
Dance is an escape. That's how I've always looked at it. It's my creative outlet. It's how I can escape from the real world for a couple hours and just put music on and create movement. That is my favorite thing about choreography is I can sit for an hour and listen to a song and say, okay, how can I choreograph to this song differently than somebody else could? What type of movement can I create to this specific song? What type of storyline or theme can I apply to this song? That is my favorite part of this. One of my favorite parts of this job is creating something different because I don't want to be the same as so-and-so. I want to use a song that everybody's probably used, but I want to make it different. So for me, dance is my creative outlook. It's my way of escaping reality in a way. But dance, honestly, and a lot of every dance studio owner and teacher would agree with me. Every child should dance at some point in their life, even if it's for a year or two, because dance is so much more than a recital and a costume. Dance teaches a child how to carry themselves, how to walk. Even when you get a child, at 1 year old, they're walking in the dance class. They're not actually dancing because they're walking, they're learning how to move, balance, coordination, rhythm, and timing. All that applies when they're younger, and it really does help as they get older. For me, I always apply dance on how can we use what we learn in dance in the real world. And I really apply this to my competition kids because I see them more. So I foster a very positive, competitive environment. I do not foster drama. I do not foster negativity within the studio. I want these kids to compete and I want them to get better and better each time, but I want them to better themselves. I don't want them to look at another team and say, oh, we're not like that. And I said, that's fine. As long as you stepped on stage, as long as you got better, you improved. So I always say, when you go to a competition and you receive judges' critiques, feedback, you are getting constructive criticism and you're applying it to your dancing. And we translate that to the real world. When we go for job interviews, if we don't get the job and the job interviewees, the person interviewing us says, you know what, I would love if you came in and just did this a little bit differently, or, you know, if you weren't good at interviewing, if they provided some feedback, you apply that to your real life and you get better. You know, preparation, teamwork, sportsmanship, all the things that dance can teach children, no matter their age, that all applies to the real world. And a lot of sports do that. So I try and, you know, when I'm trying to get kids or young adults into dance, I don't try and say, oh, it's for the recital in the classroom. I always say, because it's the truth, it's the bigger picture. It's what these kids can learn after they leave the studio, whether they pursue a career in dance or not.
That is a great message and the core value that you share. And I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And I think any sports, not just the dance,
Mhm.
all you have said is so true that it applies in a real life situation.
Right.
And you know, a lot of dancers who are disciplined and athletes, musicians, they tend to really excel because they know how to discipline not only just the dance form, but you know, they struggle like mentally too, that getting judged, overcoming
Right.
the fears, and you know, performing in front of a lot of people. That's a lot of courage, and
Right.
it has to be brave.
Mhm. And public speaking too is a huge thing for me. You know, once they start turning about age 8, 9, I really start to prepare them to speak in public. And I like to start by, you know, start in the classroom, self advocacy, because I also work in high school in special ed. So I am very big on self advocacy. And if someone has a question, I want the child to begin to ask that question and begin to advocate for themselves, because that is a huge skill that can help children as they grow up.
Yes, absolutely. So, what is your vision in coming 5 to 10 years?
Wow. You know, I'm a dreamer, and I have a vision, and I would love to have grown to a point where I am in my own space around this area. If it's Foxborough, fantastic. If it's Franklin, fantastic. If it's Norfolk, fantastic. You know, wherever it takes me, I love this general area. Obviously, I'm going to stay within a 10 to maximum 15-minute radius of the theater, but I would love to be in my own space, and I would love to be bringing in students that want to dance but want to become artists and want to take it to that next level. um, you know, even if they're coming in for an hour a week, or, you know, 90 minutes a week or 2 hours a week, I want them to love it, and I want it to be their creative outlook. I don't want kids to ever look back on their time dancing and say, oh, it was so negative, or it was just drama, or it was this. I want them to truly enjoy their time dancing. And I think around this area too, because clearly I'm a guy, and I bring a completely different perspective to dance um, than some. And I'm excited to bring that to this area, because there isn't that around this area. There's fabulous studios around this area run by fantastic teachers who produce amazing talent. But I said to myself, you know what? I want to open up a studio in this area because kids should have the opportunity to learn from a guy. It's no different from a male school teacher. And, you know, with my staff that I bring in throughout the years, I think I can achieve that.
Unfortunately, our time is getting wrapped up. So, while we give you another the last word that you want to share with our audience, would you share your last message?
Sure. I am very grateful and very excited to be operating out of the Maryland Rodman Performing Arts Center for another season. It is never too late to sign up for dance, whether you are 7 or whether you're 17. You can come in, try a class. We will be having a first annual birthday bash, I believe, on October 17th, that Monday day of dance. That will be open to the public. Kids can come and try a class, etc., to celebrate. But I really hope that we begin to pick up and kids start coming in and experiencing the Studio G difference.
Great. And then again, your website and then social media one more time.
My website is www.studiogdancecompany.com. And our Facebook page is just the name of the business, Studio G Dance Company. And the same goes for Instagram and TikTok, Studio G Dance Company.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for watching another episode of Around Foxborough. My name is Julie Love. Our website is fcatb.org. Our executive director is Michael Weber and director is Paul Beck. If you click on Video on Demand and then click on Around Foxborough, you can see all of our episodes. Thank you again for tuning in. See you next time.
Thank you.